The Cetacean Acoustic Trend Tracking Project, CATT, uses Chelonia F-POD passive acoustic monitoring devices to track dolphin and porpoise population and distribution trends around the UK coastline. Hello, another video on the CATT F-POD app use for people who aren't very familiar with it, but if you've seen some of the other videos and training tools we have, hopefully you're making some progress. And for this one, we're going to delve a bit more deeply into exporting, and we're going to have a look at auto-correlating files as well. So I'm going to load some unrelated files. I'm going to take 3 FP3s from Wales. There they are. As these are FP3s, I'm really interested in the species class. I'm going to set everything to match that. I'm not really interested in boat sonars. Let's put the whole range on the screen, show from start, and see what we have here. So there we are. The orange lines are dolphin detections. The purple ones are porpoise detections. And there are a good number of detections in all of these. So if I pick one out, I can maybe I just look at dolphins and I select that top file for action. Then I can go into the display tab. We have auto-correlation in here, so I'm going to auto-correlate against tide. That's normally a good one for seeing how the activity relates to the tides coming and going. So that will load fairly quickly, and we can see a fairly tight correlation in there. You see that the scale on the bottom is the number of tides going through, and the detections going up and down with the tides. We can do this other ways. If I put that on a different time scale, like maybe by day, and I auto-correlate again, that will load fairly quickly. But I would expect, there we go, there is a very loose correlation there, but nothing like the correlation with tides. Whole time range on the screen again, show from start. So we did that for dolphins. So what I'll do now is I'll do the same thing for NVHF. So when it doesn't matter what's in the screen here, when I tell it to auto-correlate, it will reread the file according to whatever I've set over here. So I'm going to auto-correlate now against porpoises for that Skomer file. You can see again a nice close correlation through there for porpoises with tides. So that's quite a nice little tool. Rewrite that screen with everything on it. Auto-correlation. Nick wrote some little notes in there to help you with it. In displays, residency, try 1 minute, tidal dial patterns, an hour, 6 hours, or tidal times. Cross-correlation will correlate between files. You can load a couple in 1 and 2 and correlate between them. We won't do that at the moment. There's some other things I want to do first. So I'm going to look at these files. I'm going to pick one. I think I'm going to pick the 6B, so I'm going to close the other two. At NBF and other stations, I'm going to load that file. So in here, I want to export some of this data. I think I'm going to export just the porpoise data. So there is a fair amount of porpoise data there. And when we go to the export tab, previously we did detection positive minutes, hours, numbers of clicks. We did that against days, and we did it from open files. We're going to come over here this time, and we're going to look at third-party analysis tools. Now, there's a section here for third-party import, but we are doing third-party export. So these are all our options for exporting. It will write a file, a text file. It will write one for each FP1 and FP3. For this one, I'm going to look at train features. I'm going to select all of those. And I'm going to export that, and I'm going to ask it to write that text file to my desktop. And I'm going to do the CB6 file we decided we would do. So it will load it, it will run through, and we'll see the little timer tick away. And when that's finished, there should be a new text file on my desktop with all the train features exported into it. So that's done. Let me close that one, minimize the F-POD app, and there's my text file. So I can see there are just over 8 million characters in that text file. So let me go back into the app, and again we'll go to Export, Third-Party Analysis Tool, Third-Party Export. This time we'll leave it on NBHF, but we will look at click features, select all of those, and export it again, put it on the desktop, and we'll let that run through the CV6 file. There are a few more features in there to export, so it might take a little bit longer, and there might be a slightly bigger file. It all works very quickly. There we go. So this exporting, this one actually runs the train detection again, and that's very slow. And that's something I haven't used. This works for most of the things I want, and you can export to one file or two files. Clipboard for only small amounts of exports. We could do these to the clipboard, but I wanted to put them on a text file on the desktop so that we can move on to the next step, see where they go. Okay, so that's saved. I'm going to shut down that export window, and look, I've got another one on the desktop there. So the other one was about 8 million characters. Let's see, this one's 145 million characters. So that's a slightly bigger data set. And this is what we might do if we were looking at this stuff in R. So let me start up RStudio, and I can import a data set from text. I'll go to the desktop. I'll get the smaller one first, and we'll drop that in. That will load quite quickly, and I can do the same thing for the larger one, import a data set from text from the desktop. There's the much bigger one. We'll pull that in as well. There it goes. So there we have the two. The file sets are very similar. You can see them just clicking over there. And that one's got 35,000 entries rather than 723,000 entries. Quite easy to work with if you want to export these data sets and put them in R or other applications. So to summarize, we cross-correlated dolphins against tides, we cross-correlated porpoises against tides, we then used third-party export for train features and for click features. We then loaded our third-party exports into RStudio. All of the data gathered on the CATT project is open source at the Figshare Plus open repository in the project called CATT. The software we use to analyze the data is available at the Chelonia.co.uk website called F-POD.exe. R&D UK was established to set up the CATT project on behalf of Chelonia.